I'm alive. You're alive? We're all alive. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to No Sugar, No Cream podcast. Welcome. We're very excited for you to be here. We're excited to be here. And we're excited that you're here and we're together. We're doing it. We're doing that podcast thing. So excited. Excitement is in the air. Can you see it?
Woo!
It's floating. Floating. Like Tim's excitement when I'm still half asleep and he's already been awake for 8 hours.
Well,
That kind of that's where we want the excitement to be. Tim, give me some excitement.
Woo!
Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Well, guys, it is Tuesday and it's my birthday month. I'm not one of those people.
Yes.
No, I have a birthday day. It's a day, and the number just gets bigger every year, and I don't like so much. I literally stopped counting at 40. I seriously have to think about it. I'm not even joking. Every time I have to how old am I? I have to think about it. I literally have to do the calculation because once I hit 40, it's like I'm done. I'm done counting. I'm 40. I'm just if you ask my age, I'm over 40. That's my age. I'm over 40. How old's Tim? He's over 40. He's over 40.
Yeah. Barely.
Just barely. Just barely. It would have been funny if you were like, don't put me in the same age bracket as you. Okay, Tim's over 35. I'm not lying. Well, man,
let's talk about what are we doing to celebrate your birthday?
We are having a good old time in Madison,
Indiana.
Tim is playing me a personal show.
Yeah,
the personal show. He's going to play all my favorite songs on his new album. Some I don't know because I haven't heard them yet. Very, very personal show. I'm 95% sure he came out with that date to have that concert before he realized that was my birthday.
No, wrong. You're wrong, sir. When I selected the date, I knew it was your birthday.
Really?
And that was another reason why I selected it. Absolutely.
I'm going to need a minute. Gosh, dang it, that's cute.
Yeah, so if you don't know, in 10 days now, man, time goes.
Goodness.
10 days, we're going to have a concert in Madison, Indiana, Raised in South Dakota album release concert.
Put your boots on.
And
or your shoes.
We're going to have fun.
Or your moccasins. You can wear moccasins in Madison.
Okay, moccasins. I don't know where that. I guess the alliteration, moccasins in Madison.
That works. Don't worry, just letting people know come casually. They don't have to wear boots because I first said boots. Bring your boots. I was like, but you don't need. You can just wear your shoes or your moccasins. Moccasins. That's like the Indian shoes, isn't it?
Yes,
is a moccasin?
Yes.
It's supposed to be pretty.
Don't
comfy.
talk about that too much because I still get accusations. Well, it's not accusations. I still get posts. Maybe not quite weekly, but certainly every month. You're Native American, right? Me. And I'm not Native American. I have no, unless somebody was out of bounds. But as far as
as far as we know, everybody's in bounds.
As far as I know, everybody's in bounds, and I am not Native American.
No, well, let's test this. I'm going to try to communicate with Tim in his native Indian language, and let's see if it is his native language. He seems to understand me. Ooh, that's cultural appropriation. And I'm good at it. I'm professional. All righty.
Hey, let's talk about UFC fighting. We watched the fight.
Oh,
I mean,
man,
I
craziness.
Since my nephew moved in with me, has enriched my life with a lot of things that I wouldn't have paid attention to. I mean, last night we watched the Home Run Derby. I never would have watched that, and I just happened to watch it. I watched a little bit of it, the deciding who was going to go into the finals. and it looked like everybody was having a good time, full stadium. And what night was it that we watched? Was it Saturday night or Friday night? Saturday night. We watched the UFC fights, and there were a lot of excitement there. And
yeah, I missed. There was prelims. There was prelims before the prelims. I realized it started like at 4:00, so I missed some. I missed the one girl fight, which I always bummed about because man, those girls.
chick fight.
The chick fights are usually
Severe.
can be one of the best fights of the whole night.
I missed. Nanette said mine too last week. Oh, Nanette, you had a birthday. Wow. Happy birthday, Nanette.
I mean, let's not. Okay, let's keep the focus on my birthday. All right, that's great. That's great. But that was last week. Last week, right?
Yes.
That's
but
great.
Same month. It's her birthday month. You don't want to share?
Thing.
You can't share.
Thing. It's not a birthday. Well, okay, girls can have birthday months. You can have the months. Mine's just one day. Goodness gracious! Not even a birthday week, kids. It's just a birthday.
All right, let's get back to UFC.
Yeah. So Saturday, my favorite fighter, of course, Paddy the Baddy.
You know, I'm a fan now. I'm a fan of Paddy.
Yeah.
That guy has got so much character, so much energy, so much vibe, so much riz, as they would say.
You would think you'd first think like, oh, this guy is goofy. He better be able to back it up, and he can. And he put the guy in a head and
put him to sleep.
He put him to sleep. The guy just got too aggressive there and literally just threw himself in, and Paddy just like fluidly just put him in the.
He put him in at a full Nelson. Quickly. Yeah, it was so it happened all in under a minute. So the guy was fit. Paddy was the underdog. Yeah. And the other guy shot for a takedown, and Paddy deflected that and then grabbed him around the neck, flipped him over, and
his
choked
legs
him over the top of him.
That
was very flexible.
At that point, before he even did that, it was like, oh, I think he got him. Then he put his legs on him, and like Joe Rogan was saying, oh yeah, it's done.
He's done.
He's done.
And,
like, yeah,
and so he's sitting
done.
there, and he's sitting there on his butt with his legs on the guy's back, and like the guy's head in his lap, kind of, and he's choking him out. And he looks over at the referee. He says, "Better check to make sure he's still awake." And the referee lifts up his arm, and the arm fell. The guy was out. He was literally unconscious, and of course, the referee immediately blew the whistle, and it was over. It was like 1 minute into the fight. 1 minute. And amazing. Paddy was the underdog. And that was something. That was something. And then there was another one. There was a number. And then, well, of course, the final one.
Yeah, there was a number of good fights. There was a heavyweight fight that was really good. There was most of the fights were decent.
There was a fight where the guy was getting his clock cleaned, and somehow at the end,
oh my gosh, that one!
I don't know.
That one happened in one round, right? That was crazy.
No,
he was about to lose it, and then
it was the last round.
I think it was the first round. I think. Did I say last?
No, it was the last round. I think.
Was it the last round?
I think
it was. Or
maybe
the round was about to be over. Whichever round it was, the round was about to be over.
No, I think it was the last round. It was a 3-rounder, and it was the last round.
I think so.
And he caught him, and it was hard to see that he really caught him, but the guy just doubled over. The guy was dominating, younger, looked like he was younger, and he just caught him.
Yeah, the younger guy was about to completely was
dominating.
And then all of a sudden, he got a punch to like the
ribs. I think he kicked him in the ribs,
and then he kicked him just the same exact spot, and I've seen that happen a couple of times where you get that just the right spot, especially when you do it multiple times. I mean, it's basically like you feel like there's like an explosion in your stomach or whatever. Like he just went down. He just went over and
went protecting his face or protecting his head.
And if he would have just moved around a little bit, he would have survived the round. It was crazy.
And then, of course, the final one, which everybody was there for, was supposed to be 5 rounds. It lasted about a minute. Conor McGregor. I mean, I'm sure even non-UFC fighters have heard of that. Conor McGregor is 37, 38. Used to be the biggest name. I mean, even if you're not a UFC fan, you probably heard of Conor McGregor. He had his own whiskey, I think, and a very fashion guy, being GQ, very fashion forward, and just, everyone knew his name, even outside of the fighting world. And he hasn't fought in 5 years. And he came back for this big fight, and he was supposed to be favored. I think everybody bet on him.
Oh, he wasn't favored at all.
Oh, he wasn't.
Mm-mm.
No, he wasn't favored.
His odds were a lot less than Patty's.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like I think you bet less than his odds
Patty's was close to even. It was close to even. It wasn't that far away.
Yeah, it wasn't too far away. Yeah.
But McGregor, he came out, wasn't even touched. Tried to do a roundhouse kick, and didn't even hit the guy because the guy backed up. And when he landed, apparently he twisted his knee, and that was pretty much the end of it. I mean, he lasted a few more seconds, but he couldn't even stand up. And they called the fight. And a lot of people were disappointed. Some people said he was injured before and he shouldn't have even been on the fight. He made, how much did he make? 15 million? Were you saying 15 million?
I don't know.
Somebody said 15
it was.
million.
I was hitting the news somewhere around there. It was crazy. It was quite the people were worried that he was because he skipped on one foot when he was taking off.
That was bizarre.
That was bizarre. But then he released all this footage and everything. I don't think he was hurt before. He was. I mean, you said the thing that was kind of everybody kind of agreed a little after a little while that why would you do a kick, a big, that kind of kick or
roundhouse
whatever,
kick,
roundhouse kick, when that leg off that leg, if that leg is injured.
Yeah. And supposedly he was doing that before the fight in the back. And there was supposedly footage released of him doing that exact same move from the back. I didn't watch the footage, but
there was. They released footage later, and he came out with a statement, just letting everybody know, no, I was not, did not have a previous injury, and but that happens. I mean, and you could see it just the way it rotates and stuff like that. Like it doesn't rotate in a good way, and that's a bummer because it seems like he wanted to do some more fights. So now if he wants to come back, it's going to be probably a year before he can come back or whatever, and he might be officially done. And it's just, you don't want to see it happen. Props to the guy he's fighting against, which I don't even remember.
But he was telling the referee, check him
because he was noticing someone was up with him. And, he didn't want to, you don't want to hit somebody when they're already compromised.
Yeah.
And then, gave him a couple steps and then realized, he's done. He tried to put some weight on it. And at first, the way he slipped, he was like, is there a slick spot? And then he slipped the same exact way again. Like, something's going on there. And, but it happens so quick. I mean, they got to slow everything down for you to really see, it's not like you're getting a break like that. You're getting it was his knee. And I mean, you just look like
when you see, it didn't
curved.
Right. It
was not pretty at all.
Not pretty. Yeah. And
it was just by chance. He was just kind of goofing off and hopped on one foot when he was he was trying to take off his shoe or whatever. And it kind of just looked a little suspicious. And they showed that, but then it was like, that doesn't make any sense though. Like that he would have a pre-injury and then try to do a kick. His plan would have been different. I would say his plan would have been to get him to probably bum rush him, try to get him on the ground. You would probably change your entire game to ground game because you can, with a busted up knee, you can, if you have good ground game, you can be efficient. It's so funny. Some of the most boring parts of it, like UFC, can be where they're on the ground. But man, if it's done right, like Patty the Batty, just like a good takedown and a good or well, he wasn't even taken down. The other guy was running at him. A good there's nothing like a good submission. Submission is a fun way to see it go down. And then what you had Ronda Rousey, her big comeback in the which wasn't the UFC. Jake Paul's company put it on. The he did what it was she had her, she just came at her, took her down, and did a armbar, I think like in 15 seconds. It was crazy. It was insane.
Yeah, I did see that with you. Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah. I mean,
so it was nice to see her come back because she had those 3 losses in a row, and then just, then she went to take it easy in the WWE. It was like, let's plan this ahead. I want to know if I'm losing or not. But which was it was a good transition for her.
It's real to me.
It's real to me, dang it. Oh my gosh, one of the most epic videos. Guys, if anybody's, look it up. It's real to me. It's real to me. He's talking about WWE. And just,
he was crying. He was emotional.
You guys put your bodies on the line. Sweat and tears. It's real to me. Dang it. What an epic line. It sums it up. It was like, yeah. I mean, if you want to have fun with it, you know why I watched it when I was a kid? Because I thought it was real. I mean, I was a little kid, I was like enjoyed it as a kid. But it's it's basically just theater for the most part. They, but you
athletic theater. Yes, you can still get hurt.
Had a bad injury, and he's out for 6 months, and he's still, it's like one of those things where he just has it like in a brace, but like just I get, muscle snapped or whatever. Like, you might be able to move it around and everything, but 6 months, it takes 6 months to come back from it or whatever. But he still goes out and does like the whole, like, part of their showmanship is just their monologues and everything. And Logan Paul's got that down really well. So he's even backing them up. And then when somebody wants to fight him, he has to just basically run off because he's injured. He can't fight anybody. I witnessed that. It was pretty funny. Saw a little bit of that. But so he just has to open his Pokemon cards. That keeps him busy while he's injured. Oh yeah, I wanted to, something cracked me up. We'll move on a little bit from UFC, but of course, you're a little worried about your how well your Celtics are going to do, with getting rid of their guy.
Celtics traded Jaylen Brown, and it's pretty unpopular for a lot of Celtics fans, and because he was 5th in the MVP voting last year. And we've talked about that. I mean, Tatum has been my guy. I don't have a Jaylen Brown little guy, but I got a Jason Tatum little guy here because Tatum has always been my favorite player on the current Celtics. But he was MVP candidate, 5th in voting, and second team all NBA last year. So there are people saying, why are you trading him? But the reason is the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, is so egregious. I don't remember if I said this on the last podcast, but it bears repeating. So the collective bargaining agreement is based on the players get 50% of the revenue that comes into the NBA. It's by far the most player-driven league of the 4 big leagues, the baseball, football, hockey, and basketball. Of those 4 leagues, the NBA is by far driven by the players, and they have a lot more say. NFL, the team presidents decide, the team owners. The players ain't got no say for the most part. I mean, it's radically different between the two. Anyway, the new collective bargaining agreement says that gives you very specific rules on how you can, what percent of your cap space you can allocate to different players. And if you signed a max, and certain players are eligible for max contracts, and the max contract, I believe, was 30% of your cap space. And so if you have two players, that's 60%. Two max contract guys, that's 60% of your total payroll. Okay, maybe manageable. But the issue that wasn't factored in is all of those contracts are 5-year contracts. Usually, the max contract is usually 5 years, and they factored in an 8% growth per year because the projection for the league was that the television, and most of the revenue comes from the television rights, which is advertising. So when you watch a game, there's advertising. That's what pays the NBA. And they get all their money from the television rights. And they were saying it's going to grow 10% a year. So 8% is less than 10. So each year, the percentage that of the cap that goes toward, because the revenue for the team is a percentage of the total revenue. So if the total revenue is going up 10%, the team revenue will go up 10%, and the max contract guy only goes up 8%. So that's
there
better
will be
for
a
the
test
team.
at the end of the podcast. Everybody,
10
take
is
notes.
more than 8. The problem, the revenue has not been going up by 8%. It's been going up by less than that.
Dun, dun, dun.
I guess the regional television outlets are failing, or I don't know the specifics, but it's growing a lot slower than they're projected.
You're not contributing enough, Tim.
So that means that 30% is now 35, 38%, and the two players, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, are going to be up to 75% of the cap space. That's a heck of a lot different than 60%.
We're going to have to buy some more merch. Support the teams.
So what that means in today's CBA, and it's a new CBA, a lot of different rules, so the managers aren't used to it. And I think that Brad, I believe that Brad, the GM for the Celtics, figured out that you can't have two max contract guys on the same team. And there's a lot of other teams in the NBA that do have two max contract guys. A lot of them. And the Pacers do. They've got Siakam and the guy that was injured. Come on. Now it starts with an H. Halliburton. I know that the Oklahoma City has. They got SGA, and they just signed Hartenstein, and so on and so on and so on. So because then all of your money goes to 70, 75% of your payroll, just two guys. And so that was the reason. And on top of that, Jaylen Brown's been making, I think, 58, 60 million. He was due this year. He's eligible for an extension, even though there's 3 years left on his contract. He's eligible for an extension, and that would be 70 million. And what are you going to do? Okay, we're not going to give you the extension. If you are a franchise player, it's hard to say no. So they would be tied into finishing up to 3 years. Plus, you don't want to let him walk after you invested all that. You got to trade him or something, or else up him for 70 more million. Just the future is bleaker and bleaker, and the vice group's getting tighter and tighter. And Brad Stevens decided to just pull the plug now and trade him. And it's the shocking trade. Nobody can believe it. But either and I said this on a previous podcast, either Brad Stevens is incredibly intelligent and ahead of the curve, or he's kind of an idiot. I don't think there's a middle ground. Time will tell.
Yep. Cross your fingers. Well, to go along with, just how rough it could be, you're just torn at your team. You got to deal with that. You have to deal with, with that, just the emotions of that and what people are saying about your team and everything. This is what I have to deal with every year. And this is sent to me by one of my good friends.
NFL teams that have no chance of winning the Super Bowl next season. At number 5, we have the Dallas Cowboys. As long as Jerry Jones is there, this team has no chance of winning a Super Bowl. At best, they sneak into the playoffs next season and exit in the first round. Sitting at number 4, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Individually, this team has serious talent on the roster with Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens on offense. But as a unit, this team is always sought. Literally. At number 3, we have the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, I get it. It's fun to trolling you.
I'm numb to it at this point. The 90s was a long time ago. But
it's hard to win in the
but it's
NFL. I mean,
funny.
look,
You
I mean,
know,
people thought Kansas City was going to be dynasty, and I don't think it looks like that now. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's nice that they're that Taylor Swift let her man play another year of football, so that's good for them. By the way, shout out to them getting married.
Yeah, congratulations to Travis and Taylor. Amazing.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to get married in a stadium though, but oh yeah, you know, you said something interesting that you said. You know, I just make contrasts, you know, to between the NFL and the NBA. You know, you don't want to trade somebody away in the NBA where they're going to be playing in your division or whatever. You know,
You try not to.
Try not to. Well, you got to be extra careful in the NBA and the NFL because there's only in your division there's just 4 teams, and if you could be the best of those 4 teams, you go to the playoffs. So, like, if you trade one of your good teams to one of those other three teams, that's extra stupid because like you beat those 3 teams and you're going to the playoffs. So, like, if you give them a swing to be a lot better, then it's kind of you shooting yourself in the foot big time, because the odds are so much more stacked, you know.
Yeah, you know, the divisions in the NBA. So the NBA is divided into 30 teams, 15 teams in each conference. You got the Western Conference, you got the Eastern Conference. And then you have divisions. It must be, I don't even know how many divisions there are. There are 3, I should know this.
But then the divisions don't have an impact.
Right. They used to have more of an impact.
Okay. How did they
won
used
your
to be?
division? Well, based on what I
changed?
understand, if you won your division, it helped you in your seeding for the playoffs.
Okay.
I believe that. We have to research that.
And of
But
course, that's
now,
before the play-in and everything.
yes, long time ago.
Which I love the play-in thing. It's so creative. You've had to explain it to me more than once. The play-in is just so unique the way it is done. Yeah, depending on where you're at, you got to win 2 games or 1 game, and it's so yeah, the first 7 make to the playoffs, and then 8
Oh, I no for 6.
For 6, 7. Oh, it's 4. Yeah, okay, because it's 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's 4 teams that are
4 teams doing the play-in.
Right,
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, winning an NBA division was historically significant because it guaranteed a team a top 4 playoff seed. Wow. And home court advantage for the first round if you won your division, regardless of your overall win-loss record. But the rule was changed before the 2015-2016 season.
Okay, it's like 10 years ago then.
Just 10 years ago. That's not that long ago. If a division was exceptionally weak, a team with a mediocre record could vault over objectively better teams in the standings simply by finishing first in their division. Today, division titles own minimum weight. They're no longer required to make the postseason, nor do they guarantee home court advantage. Instead, their primary function is to serve as a second tiebreaker, not first tiebreaker, second tiebreaker for playoff seeding after head-to-head records. So the divisions almost don't matter anymore. The only thing about a division, I would say, for example, trading, you play the teams in your division more than you do teams that aren't. That would probably be the only thing. Like if teams in your division, you play them 4 times. And teams in the other conference, you play 2 times.
They're divided up by location? Is it kind of
they're supposed to be, but why is Memphis, Tennessee in the Western Conference? That makes no sense.
They used to be in Canada, right?
That's why.
That's why.
I guess.
Yeah.
Chicago is further west. Chicago is further west than Memphis, aren't they? Yeah, sure they are. And they're in the Eastern Conference, whereas Memphis is in the Western Conference. So that's,
How further is it? Yeah. Pretty. Oh no, no! Look, you said Chicago compared to Memphis. Chicago will be a little bit further east, or no? Did you say west? So, so Chicago's a little bit further east than Memphis.
Let me see that. Okay, barely. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I grant you that. I grant you that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, pretty close.
Yeah,
Pretty close.
I mean, not enough to really care, but yeah, when I think about it, when you think about it at the top of your head, yeah, you it's so weird how you think things are in your head and then looking on them. That's how the Mandela effect becomes created, because we just you're familiar, you're familiar with the Mandela effect, right?
Yes.
Crazy, yeah. Good old Mandela effect. I like Googling that and thinking about those every once in a while. Yeah, there's a couple of them that I just still scratch my head.
Okay, here's the stats. Memphis, 90 degrees west. New Orleans, 90 degrees west, are more west than Milwaukee, 87 degrees west, and Chicago, 87 degrees west. So you're right. Yeah, the NBA is split evenly east and west. Okay, I stand corrected. I thought that Memphis was further east because I'm in Nashville, and that's definitely east. But here's
they just
the
got
thing.
lucky by that, right? Because it was used to be in Canada.
Used to be in Canada,
so they just got lucky that
they got lucky. Yeah, yeah. They
But
probably
they
looked
probably
at.
would've
You know
changed
what
it. They
I'm
would've
going
changed
to
it.
project is they looked at. Okay, where you want to move? You want to move to
Well,
Memphis? We need to check the latitude. Or the longitude. We need to check the longitude. Are you east of Chicago?
Well, just
you're
ignore-
not east of Chicago.
Well,
Okay,
just
we'll
ignore
let
that
you
there's
go.
no Grizzlies, Grizzly Bears in Chicago, or in Memphis. There's no Grizzlies in Memphis. What's his? Yeah, that is the funny thing, is right. Like that is the. Of course. Then you got the Raptors. There's no.
You got the
Raptors in
Lakers.
Canada.
How about the Lakers?
Lakers? Yeah. What is the Lakers?
Minnesota Lakers or Minneapolis
We've had
Lakers?
this conversation before.
Because Minnesota is a land of 10,000 lakes, and they used to be in Minnesota, Minneapolis.
That is here's a good question. Think about what is the most incorrect mascot for that's probably the one, right? Can you think of another one?
I mean, are there really any lakes in Southern California? I mean, it's more of the ocean, really.
It always cracks me up with the colors, like what's blue on a hornet? Like, the Charlotte Hornets.
Well, we were looking at the Ravens,
right? Ravens,
yeah, because we were
purple,
watching
blue.
you were watching a sportscast, and they were talking about a guy, the quarterback for the Ravens, who was ranked number 2, and now he's ranked like 60th or something. And they were showing his helmet, and I'm a really casual football fan, so it said B, and it had a bird. And I'm trying to be funny, and I will not go on the comedy circuit anytime soon. But I said, "Oh, is that the Birds?" And I knew that there's no NFL team called the Birds.
I feel like
said Baltimore.
The people play that game with like their girlfriends or just girls in general that are is usually as big as a fan for sports, or and they'll just show them the emblem and like guess a team. And, they'll just say something random or whatever, like call the Bengals like the Cats or something by looking at her.
Yeah, and it's they're not even black. I mean, Ravens are black. We know they're black, but yet the colors it was blue, right? I think.
Yeah,
Baltimore
blue,
Ravens.
which I thought it used to be purple, but maybe.
So
what is
the whole
colors?
mascot thing, and then you got the team with no logo, the Cleveland Browns. We're just going to be a color, darn it. Just a color.
And then, Washington for the longest time had no name at all. And now the Commanders, which people were hating on that. Like, there's worse names out there than Commanders. I mean, like 49ers, that like just what a funny name. 49ers. You're the 49ers. The 76ers, which I mean, yeah, that year.
By that stretch,
historic, I like that.
the Denver team
But-
should be the 59ers. We talked about that. The gold rush of 59. the 59ers.
Yeah.
Because in 1859 there was a gold rush to Denver. Instead, they named it after a chicken chain. You know,
Yeah, Ravens is like purple.
they had, you know, they served this very famous chain from Denver that served chicken food at a fast food, and that's what they named the Denver team after.
See that one where we saw it looked more like a blue when we saw it, but they're purple, gold, and black and white.
Seth, did you hear what I was saying?
No, I just missed it. I'm sorry.
Instead of calling the Denver team the 59ers, they decided to name them after a fast food chicken outlet.
The Chick-fil-A. The Chick-fil-A.
Close.
Nuggets. Go Nuggets. That was a good clip. Somebody find that clip. That was in the podcast, or wasn't that in the podcast?
Yes.
Yeah. So I
yes,
decided
because we were talking about why are they called the Nuggets, and
Like-
it's because gold rush.
I mean,
And Seth says, no, and I think of nuggets, I think of chicken nuggets because I like food. I like food.
I mean,
too.
just like
I like food,
just
too.
like Uber Eats went on that whole thing where like they made it be like they had the whole thing where like the NFL is just to sell food, the play on of that, you know, with the different names and all that, and made Uber Eats commercials. Nuggets, that's perfect. You know, they should have some kind of commercial.
They should
with
they should.
with chicken nuggets and with McDonald's. I mean, if not, somebody else should jump on it, like Chick-fil-A or who else got nuggets. I noticed one of my favorite chicken places. So I love like really good chicken strips with like a usually like an orange sauce, like it's like similar to a remoulade sauce, I guess. Mixture of like probably what mustard, mayonnaise, and ketchup, basically, and then probably some spices. But of course, in Northwest Arkansas, you got Tyson's Chicken, so there's like a number of chicken places. The chicken is really popular, but Slim's Chicken is a really good spot. And there, I popped up on Uber Eats, and I was like, oh my goodness, is that the same Slim's? I was like, sure enough, it's like 15 minutes away, 15, 20 minutes away. What's that town that's southeast of us? I think it's College
Murfreesboro?
Town. I think Murfreesboro. Yes.
MTSU.
But yeah, Slim's Chicken.
Middle Tennessee State University.
It's like they, you know, a lot of times there's just a way too much breading on the chicken, like Zaxby's. Zaxby's pretty good chicken, but there is a little bit extra when it comes to the breading. Slim's Chicken, a nice light feathering of breading, and one of the best dipping sauces, and by far my favorite chicken strips is Slim's Chicken. Not sponsored. Did you have a favorite chicken strip, Spurs, or chicken?
I'm not a big chicken guy.
Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A sandwich.
I do go to Chick-fil-A sometimes.
You are
Uh,
hardcore seafood.
I love seafood of all
Seafood,
sorts.
which
yeah.
I do like. I know I need to grill us up
which
some
is weird.
salmon
My dad
sometime.
is rolling over in his grave because we were beef farmers and lamb.
But yeah, I mean, you get
and
just
my
like I got
dad-
sick of
I mean,
Subway.
I got so tired. But my dad had a finishing operation, which means we finished it. I mean, the average cow calf operation that has cows that have calves, which is the most laborious.
He's lucky you're not a vegan. Wait, that's too.
Um,
I mean, you were there from start to finish.
I was there from start to finish. Yeah, so a cow calf operation is the most labor, and you make the most money, technically, the margin, but you do a tremendous amount of labor. You have the cows, you get the cows bred by the bull, you turn out the bull at a certain time, so that 9 months later the calf comes out, and then you raise that calf.
Starting
until
with
they're
Tim helping impregnate them, which
I
we
did
distilled
artificial
that. We've
insemination.
talked about that.
I
in a-
did
in a
artificial
po-
insemination. I went to
So
school.
he was literally there from the
I was
beginning.
there from the beginning. Yeah, my dad. It still boggles my mind. I wasn't even a teenager yet. I was probably 10, 11, 12. And this semen that you buy, it's in
Mhm.
frozen. It's in this frozen liquid nitrogen container. They keep it very cold. You have to be careful that you don't burn yourself because it is super cold. You have to handle it very carefully. I'm like 11 or 12 years old, and we go to school for a week to learn how to do this. And my dad said, "You're going to be doing that." It boggles my mind to this day. Every little vial of that semen, it was a little vial, probably at most 5/8 to 3/8, 3/4 of an inch tall, and then it was glass, and you would break off the top. You would serrate it with a knife or something, or a file, so that it would be scored, and then you'd break that top off, and then just a tiny little amount of semen, and you'd have to take your pipette, stick it in there. Oops, I dropped it. Okay, there went, I don't know how many hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, no, you did drop it. I didn't do that, but I'm an 11 or 12-year-old kid. Why am I being entrusted with this very expensive semen? Because it doesn't make sense if you're just going to use the semen from the bull down the road. The reason you do artificial insemination, so you can get higher quality genes into your herd. And
Oh yeah.
the more high quality genes it is, the
deal.
more expensive it is.
Mhm.
And so, I don't think we went for the heroes we were Charolais at the time, and everything about Charolais was bigger, and growth, how many pounds per day they could put on. And so you could get them to market sooner. Time is money, right? And so Charolais were the biggest, rangiest, fastest growing, fastest putting on weight. And so we wanted more of that. It's weight gain per day, etc. And because that's how you get paid. And so they would keep records on that. This bull gets you more, or that bull. And sometimes there'd be side effects. The side effects in the Charolais was they had bad tempers, and they're big animals, and they might charge you,
Oh goodness.
and you could be hurt.
Did you ever have do you remember any records, just ridiculously sized cows that you guys had?
Yeah, we had
At
some
some point.
huge cows, huge bulls. They were bigger. I mean, they were back then. They were called the exotics, and the standard for beef cattle. I'm not milk cattle. Milk is Holstein. Those are the black and white spotted ones. Those are bred and raised for milking. Beef cattle means that you raise them to get fat and then get butchered and you eat them in hamburger or steaks or whatever. And those are two different genetic pools. You breed them to make the best meat. And there's really traditionally two herds in America. There was the Hereford, which is red with a white face, actually comes from England, Hereford, England, and then Black Angus, which is black. And they're even now certified Angus. They tried to reclaim their branding, and so now they have some side. You can go to the menu and you can see that they trademarked the name Certified Angus. And I don't know if it means anything, but you if you see that, then you feel, oh, maybe this is a little higher quality because it's certified something. Angus, in fact, my dad used to crossbreed Charolais and Angus because the Angus does bring a really nice marbling, really nice taste, but they were too small. They didn't grow, so he didn't get paid by the pound. So he'd do a cross of the two, get the best of both. And then sometimes they'd be, gray. They wouldn't be white because Charolais are white. Angus's are black, or it'd be black with a white face. Then you know it's a crossbreed. If it has a white face, then you know it's a crossbreed. Maybe could be crossed with a Hereford actually. But anyway, so you're trying to get the attributes you want in your herd so you can make more money. You're trying to make more money. That's what it's about. And of course, that's what it was then. I mean, we're talking decades ago. I'm assuming it's the same today. And so my dad decided he wanted to pay. I don't know how much he paid for the semen, but there was a company that would supply it and supplied the container, the cooler. It wasn't the liquid nitrogen thing. And here I am, 11, 12 years old, and I've got to put the long sleeve on. So I reach in with your left hand, and then you got the pipette that you suck the semen out of the little vial. Tiny vial. There wasn't much of it. Well, you could easily drop it and then it's gone.
Do you think that's done pretty similar the same way nowadays? Or you think, what's the process you think
I have no idea.
would be
I
interesting?
wonder. It's probably
Well,
preloaded in a gun or something. I wonder. It's probably much more efficient
Definitely a
than it
YouTube
was
video
then.
for that.
Probably, yeah.
I'll look that
Yeah.
up later. That'd be
When you had to reach in through the intestinal tract, through the anus, and reach down through the and grab the cervix. You're not touching the cervix because the intestinal tract is between you and the cervix, but you can grab it. There's a lot of slopping around in there inside the body, and you bring it up like this, and then you take your pipette, and you have to work. Nobody wants to hear
Grandpa
this.
found out that
Nobody
he
wants
made
to
the
hear
right
this.
choice too, right? Because you had a really
I
good
really
high
had a
percentage.
high percentage. I was over 90%.
That's crazy.
Because you didn't know till 9 months later. Well, not 9 months later. You knew in a couple months what the conceiving rate was. And I remember Dad telling me, my dad didn't compliment me very often, but he said, you got a pretty high rate. And it wasn't just that. Your mom was a part of it because your mom was the heat checker. And so your mom, every day, twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, she had to go and get the whole herd in a lot and watch them for at least a half an hour to see which ones were coming into heat. So there was some skill there, which ones were giving signs that they were starting to ovulate. And because, if they're not ovulating, they're not going to get pregnant, right? So you have to watch for the signs, and there's signs you can tell. There's certain, they get a little agitated, and there's other signs. And your mom was responsible for that. And she would go twice a day. So it's a lot of work.
They don't just moo like
they
3 times in a row and let you know.
Well, they would ride each other. They would get agitated. They would they would ride each other, simulate a sex act between 2 cows, so that you could tell that they were ovulating. There were different signs. And then your sister would come home from doing that, like if she did in the morning, and she'd say, these are the numbers that are ovulating. The numbers meaning on the tag number, identified by the numbers. And okay, tonight, 12 hours later, we're gonna inseminate those. And that's what it was. And then that evening, 12 hours after the heat check, we would get them again and put them in a headlock. And
I'm guessing Pam wasn't able to do too much.
Pam,
she's probably 1 year old at this
she's
point.
probably quite young. Yeah. Well, she's 7 years younger than me, so she would have been about 4 or 5 at the time.
I was thinking there was
that was the whole process. The whole family was involved, basically. And yeah, even thinking about it now, my dad entrusted me with the job of doing that. I mean, I was 11, 12 years old, doing a grown man's job. It boggles my mind. And I did a pretty good job of it, too.
Yeah, sounds like you had better consistency probably than a lot of people would have. I mean,
yeah, I remember 90% for cows. Now the heifers were less, were 80%, but that's to be expected. The heifers meaning they were well, I don't know if they were virgins, but they'd never been pregnant before. Never been pregnant. And those were harder to impregnate or had a lower impregnation rate. And I think my rate on the heifers was in the 80s, if I remember right. I mean, it's been a long time, but 90. I remember it was over 90%. That's one of my core memories that I succeeded.
Did you ever have horses that you used to like?
No, it was just a 1 week or a 3 day, whatever it was, school we went to.
Or
is that what you mean?
No, horses. Did you ever have
horses
on the farm?
Horses. We had a pony when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But we never had horses. Horses, the thing about horses, they are expensive to keep because they eat. A horse maybe is roughly the same size and weight as a cow, but they'll eat 3 times what a cow eats. Rough numbers. If you know the actual comparison, horses eat a lot. Horses are expensive, man. Horses are expensive.
Well, my thinking too was just help corral the cows around, but you never had to corral the cows too far.
We never did. We never did. My dad was never into horses I don't know why, just never wasn't.
So you just kind of
we used four ATV 4-wheelers.
Right.
That's what we used.
Oh yeah, they probably.
We had 4-wheelers back then.
ATVs, when was the first ATV
all-terrain
made?
vehicles?
I mean, I guess they're old as anything, right? As long as there's vehicles around, they're 4-wheeler.
You know,
Did you have a three wheelers? Those are worth money nowadays because they went illegal.
honestly, don't recall. Honestly, don't recall if it was 3 or 4. Probably it might have. It probably was 3-wheeler. Probably, probably was.
I wonder what three wheelers go for. I know they made a bit back illegal back like in the 80s or 90s. I think they made them illegal. They're just so easy to
Tip over.
Yeah. But yeah, we used to have a lot of fun with the 4-wheeler back on the farm. But
yeah, come to think, my dad entrusted me with some pretty important jobs. Like he got this. So we always bales. So you have a crop on the field like alfalfa or hay that you cut it and then you let it dry. And then usually you rake it to turn it over so that the bottom is now on the top and the sun dries it, alfalfa or sometimes hay and alfalfa, mix depending, different grasses. And that is good food for the animals. And so you have to make hay when the sun shines is the saying. I don't know if that's a common saying for people in the city, but because the sun has to cooperate. Because if you cut it and then it gets rained on, that's not good. Because it has to cure, it has to dry out. And then you put it in a bale. In a bale, small bale, was a bale, weighed about 80 pounds. It had 2 strings around it, and you would pick it up with your hands and throw them around. And that's how we did things manually. And then we'd stack them in the field, and Dad used the farm hand and pick them up and put them on top. And we'd start it with 1 layer and go up, I think about like 11 layers. And I remember one time we were stacking bales. We were on the top layer, and I was so tired because I was working so much, child labor. And I fell asleep and fell off. I literally fell asleep while I was on top of the stack and fell off. And I woke up to your mom and my dad standing over me, looking down on me. You know, I had fell off. It was probably 15 feet, maybe, probably. Anyway, so
that's what was one of my favorite things to do on the farm was jump around in the hay barrels.
But those are the big bales.
And those were the bigger ones. Yeah, but yeah.
So then later an invention came where you could use a round baler, and you made the bales that are like 7 feet in diameter, 6 feet in diameter, and they're moved by equipment, and they're not moved by hand, and that is the norm now. Almost nobody uses small bales. I do think that people that have horses use. There's a market there for that, because you have to feed. If you have a horse, maybe in your backyard or whatever, and you don't have the equipment to move those big bales around, there is some places that use the small bales. Anyway, so as an intermediate point, New Holland, which was the company that the brand, I think they're still around, they made the great balers. They made to make the bales, and anything to do with haying, New Holland was the brand, maybe still today. And they came up with a hay stacker that did it automatically, and it had a device that you drove along, and it would pick up the bale, load it up, make a row of 3, and then when that was full, tip it up, and then make a layer of 12 on a platform. And then when that was full, it would push that up and put that, so it's 12, a stack. And then when you were, I think, 8 deep, you had a full stack, and you would go and unload it and stack it. And you'd have to back up. And if you have to be a pretty good driver, because if you didn't do a good job, if you're too far away from the previous stack you just stacked, there'd be a gap there, and you don't want gaps. And Dad got one of those machines. And guess who drove that thing? Me. I learned how to drive that. I've been thinking about it. I wonder if there's a picture of me driving that thing, because it was a fairly complex machine to run. We quickly learned that you had to go a certain way, because as the bales came out of the baler, all the fibers were pacing a certain direction. You had to pick up it going the opposite direction. Anyway, this is all nerdy stuff.
Now it's all run by AI.
Well, now nobody uses those small bales. They all use big bales.
Right.
And you
Big
just
bales.
use a loader that comes and picks it up and moves it and stacks it. Nobody's doing this by hand. We were doing it all by hand. And, and then straw bales are lighter, like 50, 60 pounds. but we're, 60, 70, 80 pound bales. I'm 10, 11 years old and I'm stacking these things. And your mom too. Your mom was doing it too.
I remember coming to the farm. I remember one time in particular where like it was right out in front of the house. The huge bales were stacked up.
Now the
At
big
least
bales. You're
five-
talking the big round
bales.
bales, the round bales.
Big round bales were stacked up really high, and we would crawl all the way up there. And it was created in such a way where we were able to make a slide that would go like at least, I mean, I felt we had to have been 30 plus feet up in the air. Of course, I was a kid, so everything was bigger, but we were definitely twice as high as the house. And pretty much like a downward slide, but the hay would slow you down and then you'd have a bunch of hay to land on. And we had this kind of, vertical slide that we'd go from the top all the way to the bottom, and then you could just climb around in that like a monkey and stuff. That was always a good time on the farm.
Yeah, growing up on a farm don't hurt nobody. I mean, that's a certain, and there's a story a guy told at my funeral, my dad's funeral, not my funeral. There'll probably be a lot of stories told at my funeral. Anyway, he told me that at my dad's funeral, he was a couple years younger than me, and I don't remember this story, but I must have been about 12 years old roughly. And he said that his dad had hired my dad to harvest combine their wheat. And so that usually that means you do the combining and you also provide a truck to haul the grain to wherever they want the grain to be hauled. That's part of the negotiation. And so my dad was doing the combining, and I came with the truck, the grain truck. And he says he remembers, and I was a couple years older, so maybe he looked up to me. I'm not sure. You usually look up to the kids that are older than you. And I jump out of the truck and I'm barefoot. He tells me, I didn't remember this. And he said, I stepped on a cactus. And he says he remembers me sitting on the running board of the truck with a pair of pliers pulling cactus needles out of my foot. I don't remember this. That was normal, a normal day. Why am I running around barefoot? That's what I'm wondering. Why was I know we could afford shoes. Why was I barefoot? So 11, 12 years old doing all this work.
Not fazed by it at all.
I guess. No, I definitely was not fazed because I don't remember it. It was just probably a normal day, normal thing. Oh crap, I stepped on a cactus. Let me get it out so I can continue. That was
probably knowing you, not upset by the pain, but upset by it slowing you down where you had to stop and pull them out. Impatience started at a young age.
Well, I probably didn't want to get my dad upset with me for if he needed that truck. It was already in the field, so I was safe there. But
we'll get used to it.
Different times. Yeah, different times.
Well, that's a good way
farming
to
has
wrap it up.
changed a lot based on even in the last 15 years. Now, well, around 2008 or so, in that time frame, 2010, late aughts, they started putting auto steer on the tractors and the combines, which means that using GPS, they can make it go perfectly straight. The operator is not paying attention, doesn't have to be paying attention. You still, at that point in time, you still had to, when it came to the end of the field, you had to take control and lift your implement out of the ground and then turn around and then start it again. So at that stage, when I was still involved with farming a bit, I mean, I just left farming, but I was still living in that area. So that's where that was in 2008 or so. Now we're almost 20 years later. I don't know. Do they have it completely automated where you can sit in your office, drink your coffee, and the machine is going up and down? I don't know why not. If the machine can steer, and we were always competitive, you try to make the straightest rows. And I was not that good at making straight rows, but all the farmers would say, oh, he's a really good farmer. His rows are straight. Whether they're planting corn or you're windrowing or whatever it is, go down the field. If it's straight row, that's really good. And I was never that good at it. Now with GPS, everybody's good. It's straight as an arrow because GPS makes it that way or can make it that way. And so GPS driven. So I don't know how close we are to completely auto. I mean, you got to auto every time you go out, you see an auto driving taxi, and that's a
Yeah,
heck of a lot.
yeah.
There's no vehicles to worry about when you're in a field. All you got to do is make sure you don't drive through a fence, So if you can have auto driving taxi that can read the stoplights and the traffic and switch lanes and make turns, it's 1,000 times easier to put a tractor going up and down a field, in my opinion.
I had fun seeing my dad get in a self-driving taxi there in LA. That was it was my first time too doing it myself, but I was doing it mostly for my dad because he just gets a kick out of stuff like that, and just like it was like so trippy. It just driving itself, and but yeah, I mean, there's nothing to it. I mean, you feel safe. I mean, but yeah, that's it. We're head. In the future, you'll drive a car just for fun, probably like a go kart track, because once you have all these self-driving vehicles, they're going to be going faster, and a human being wouldn't be able to drive as perfectly as what robots would do. I mean, it's like, you see, a perfect example is like those warehouses where they got all those robots flying around like crazy doing stuff. Like, a human being can't do that. Can't even move that fast. It's that's where we're headed.
So how many years before human beings won't be able to drive on the highway, in your opinion? Well, based on what you've read, or
I haven't really looked on that, but guessing I'd say it probably will take a while. I'd say probably at least 50 years, but it could be as soon as 20 years. I mean, it depends on just how well we adapt. Every time there's some kind of accident or something, even if it's human error, if robots involved in some way, a self-driving car, it sets us back a little bit. That's the one thing that's gonna is fear. Is the one thing that's going to.
Experts generally agree that it will take 25 to 50 plus years before human driving is completely phased out.
So not too bad of a guess. 50 years.
Yeah. While highly automated cars will become common in the next decade, the complete removal of human drivers requires the natural replacement of the entire vehicle fleet.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing there. Yeah.
Plus massive infrastructure and regulatory overhauls. By 2030, 2035, autonomous cars will become highly common for delivery fleets. Robo-taxis, such as those operating currently in cities like Phoenix, and consumer highway driving. Well, we have them here in Nashville. You see them now. So by 2040, so that's only 14 years away. This is 2026 already. 14 years. It is estimated that more than half of all vehicles on the road will be autonomous. Beyond 2050, the total elimination of human driving will only happen once human-driven cars are essentially legislated off the road. This is projected to take a couple decades, as it requires laws banning manual driving, likely making liability insurance for human-operated vehicles prohibitively expensive.
I mean, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what it does with the value of antique cars. One issue will be that at some point we'll be able to drive it on the road. So then, what's the use of even having it? So yeah, will the value go crazy high for antique cars? But of course, the collectors of cars just keep them in their shady ways. If Jay Leno won't be alive anymore, but if you think if he was still collecting cars and that was happening, would not affect him one bit, because for the most part, his cars all stay I think he drives them each around the block once a week or whatever, or once a month or whatever. Like, majority of the cars probably just stay in the garage.
Well, let's ideate here. Let's do an Einstein. Actually, I saw an article recently that said Einstein actually when you say you're an Einstein, you're the most brilliant person of the 20th century is the common thing. But people saying actually by measurable intelligence, he was not the most intelligent even in his class. This one article that I read said what he did instead was he developed this system in his brain where he would take a ride in his brain and use his imagination. So anyway, so let's do an ideation.
That shows you how important imagination is.
Yes, let's do an Einstein a thought experiment. What if, people still like to drive? What if there are certain roads that are limited for human driving, just for the pleasure? Maybe very scenic roads.
That's a good question. Will there be towns that won't allow robot cars?
Yeah.
Won't
Why? It
allow
probably will
AI?
be. Yeah. Why not?
Won't, like, it'd be easy to do, like on those islands, like on islands where like there were like go karts, like not go karts, but golf carts are only allowed or whatever on their roads. That's a perfect example. They probably won't allow
Well, yeah. Well, it's probably going to be it's not going to be universal because there are people that love driving. I have a stick shift Porsche and I love driving my car, and it's a theft deterrent because there aren't too many people, especially Gen Z millennial, that can drive a manual shift, maybe even Gen X. Can you drive a manual shift?
I cannot, or at least not very well.
And you're over 40, as we learned earlier.
But we don't know how old. just over 40. Slightly. Let's
Very slightly. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, so I enjoy driving my car. It's pleasurable for me to go through the gears, use the clutch, coordinate the shifting and the transmission, and shifting up and shifting down.
To take some land in South Dakota and make a track.
So if that would be taken away from me, that would be a pleasure that I would not appreciate. Okay, here's another one. How about motorcycles? All the people. I mean, what's going to happen with motorcycles if you have all autonomous vehicles? Is Harley Davidson going to be okay? No more Harley Davidsons, because if you're going to make cars illegal, how much faster are you going to make manually driven motorcycles illegal?
Yeah. As long as the vehicles stay within speed limits, I guess we shouldn't have an issue driving with the AI autonomous vehicles. Once so man, I would say it could then take 100 years for us to be completely like not using the roads. It'll be interesting to see. We'll see what the next 10 years brings. It's always interesting to see how things change.
Well, I remember when was it
what's going to happen?
Tesla first came out with the auto driving. Seems like 5 years ago or so, or I don't know how many years ago they had the auto driving, but you had to have somebody in the driver's seat, right?
You still got to have somebody, but now they're even coming with a car that even have a steering wheel, and that's going to be out within the next year. They're going to start coming out with those. No steering wheel in it.
Yeah, so
it's kind of crazy.
Those of you who are looking for growth industries, I would say do not consider Uber drivers. Do not consider truck driving.
Or basically you're just going to be getting paid minimum wage to just hang out and make
Oh yeah, you'll get paid minimum wage to get there and take the Uber Eats. You're going to take the bag from the car to the front door because the car can't do that. And until they get a robot to do that.
Yeah, they got the robots there can do that. That's the crazy part. That's an easy task for a robot to do, they got these robots now that you can buy, and if it can't do a task, they can train it to do the task to a certain extent, I guess.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't even have the robot. Why would you wouldn't even have the robot in the car? There's no reason to have the robot in the car.
Just a
have the
long
robot just
arm?
attached. Well, no, have the robot attached to the outside of the car, and then when the car pulls up, the robot drops down. Maybe it's wheels, or maybe it's some whatever. It doesn't have to be legs. It could be the easiest way to do it, to cover the terrain from the car to the front door. Maybe it's one of those rotating, like five things on a wheel with the spokes going out. You rotate, and then you can pretty much cover any terrain.
Oh, okay, yeah.
and
yeah.
you just go across the lawn.
Destroy the yard.
Destroy the yard. I'm just ideating. I'm just doing a thought experiment. I'm just saying it doesn't have to look like a human being. It could be.
No. I just some kind of robot arm going all the way out to the door and just driving it.
20-foot robot arm. 20-foot robot arm. Here we go.
Or just slingshot it and have a net that catches it by the door.
Nanette says you have to give up being in control. That's going to be the hardest part, yeah. So
No, I'm not giving control. We're in control.
Yeah, remember one of our
Just kidding.
favorite shows, Silicon Valley? Was that what it was? It's at least 10 years old now, probably. And Silicon Valley, remember?
Yeah, the Silicon Valley.
The premise of the show, that this guy invented this technology that would
use less
compress everything.
Compress, yeah.
And which is
Such a nerdy thing, but made such a good show.
So needed because all the that's why they're putting more data centers up everywhere, because 130,000 songs being uploaded every day to Spotify, and videos. Think of and videos take a lot more space. All of that has to be stored somewhere, and somebody's building storage units somewhere over and over and over. So if you can find a way to compress it, that's a very valuable tool. And that was the whole premise of the show, but it was about high-tech stuff. And there was an episode where a guy was in a auto-driven car. This was very forward-thinking, and the car got the dates wrong and thought it was the next day. So the car thought it had already been programmed to get on a container ship and get in the ocean, and didn't realize that it was supposed to fulfill the job of delivering this guy to his restaurant or whatever he was going to. So he's in the car, and the car had a glitch. Do you remember this? And the car drives to a container yard, and the guy's in the back trying to get out. No, stop. Drives into a container, ocean-going shipping container, and the container gets locked up, and the guy's in the car, and how he didn't have any water or food, so how would he have survived? But it's a little bit stretchy on the premise there. And so this car gets delivered to an island where there are no human beings, and it's all robots doing tasks. And this guy, that's the last we see of him, is that he's stranded on this island with no
I guess I
human
missed that
beings.
episode. That was in
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley. Okay, cool. I love that show. I thought I saw. I guess I missed some of the episodes. Well, goodness, it's been over an hour now. So I guess
I'm going to look this up. Silicon Valley episode.
All right, and see if you can find it before I end the podcast. I'm just kidding.
You don't.
And yes.
You can't end the podcast. I have the control.
Jim has the
You
power.
already have given up
Jim,
control. You don't even have the
I've
control.
given up the power. I have no power. Tim is the facilitator.
Let's see if we can find this here. The character who gets sent to an uninhabited island on HBO's Silicon Valley is Donald Jared Dunn, played by Zach Woods. Happens in season 1, episode 5.
So then I probably
After a
forgot it.
meeting with Monica Hall, he is offered the use of one of his billionaire Peter Gregory's driverless cars to get home. However, the car's navigation is overridden and redirected thousands of miles across the ocean to an uninhabited island that Gregory is building in the middle of the sea. The island is occupied only by a series of robots.
That's so funny.
And I don't think we ever know what happened to him once he got there. We that story was never followed up on.
Dun, dun, dun. And we'll never know. We'll never know. Unless somebody finds that island. But it's not real. It's not a real story, guys. It's not real. It's HBO. Well, guys, I think that should wrap us up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit extra long podcast here on No Sugar, No Cream. You know, you learn about this, learn about AI, learn about farming, learn about farming in AI, you know, what we know and such. And we can't back any of the things we say with facts as being factual, but it's fun. We're fun. We're a good time. You know, tell your friends, guys. If you're on Facebook, feel free to share the podcast. We're also on YouTube and Spotify, and wherever your podcasts are, wherever you watch your podcasts. But feel free to share the podcast and give us a like. And we will see you guys next time. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast, because you know I did. And I'm here every week. Most weeks. Mostly every week. Tuesday.
Oh, we just lost Instagram.
Oh, no.
I ended it. But not YouTube.
I was worried, Tim. I thought you completely deleted Instagram.
I did it in reverse. Normally I leave Instagram to the last, but this time I did Instagram out first. Done. Finished.
You're out of control.
We're still on YouTube and Facebook, though. We're still on YouTube and Facebook.
You are out of control.
Yes, I am.
You need to calm down. You just relax. Take a big, deep breath. Okay? And don't delete any other social medias. For goodness sake, I didn't know you had this much power.